Mary Loveland.
And I'm Zach Rocky.
Welcome to this week's episode of Orangeline.
This week I had the opportunity and the pleasure to sit down with Dr. Marc Carter. Dr. Carter, thanks for coming on today's show. And the first question is going to be, you're on the GET committee. Now, what does that stand for, and what exactly does that do here on Baker University's campus?
GET stands for General Education Task Force. We left the F off for some reason, but it's a group of faculty that were elected to help us generate a new general education curriculum for the students here at Baker CAS.
Okay. Now, what kind of new changes are you guys trying to implement with the new general education type stuff?
Well, we don't really know yet. We're not at that stage. The process of revising general education, if you do it right, involves sort of going back to first principles. So what we've been doing is we've been talking to faculty about what sorts of things are valuable and what does Baker mean and what should a Baker graduate look like. And so the stage that we're at right now is we've just recently developed a set of outcomes and experiences that we would like all the students who graduate from CAS to go through. So we have, I think, a list of about 10 different skills and 10 different knowledge areas, and then about 10 different experiences that we would like people to have.
Okay, now what kind of feedback have you gotten from other professors so far? Because I know that the general education program here at Baker has been set in stone for a really, really long time.
I think the feedback that we've been getting from the faculty has been very good. This list that I've just talked about of outcomes and experiences just got approved by Faculty Senate, so I think we're at a point right now where we want to start building curriculum around those things. That's going to probably involve a little bit more contentious issues when we start talking about exactly which courses will be in it and which won't, especially since our vision is that we get new courses for it. It's not just a question of rearranging the courses that we have now, but actually building new integrative, interdisciplinary courses that would be more meaningful to students as they work their way through their curriculum.
Now, can you give us an example of maybe one change you'd like to see from a gen ed standpoint?
There are a number on this list that we've proposed that as I say, Senate just approved. The more controversial ones have to do with, we would like to see every Baker CAS graduate have a significant international travel experience. So whether it be Harlexton or a semester abroad in another country or a substantial interterm that would involve some sort of academic content in another country, we think every Baker graduate should have an experience like that. We're leaning toward asking every Baker graduate to have some exposure to another language other than English, some level of competency, some minimal level of competency. We don't know how we'll cash all these out yet, but those are part of what we're doing.
Now, what kind of feedback have you had from the, studying abroad and learning a foreign language? Because, some people, they might not be able to afford going overseas to study abroad.
Exactly. Well, the objections that we've had, by and large, not entirely, but by and large, the objections have been practical ones. So people say, how are we going to afford this, things like that. And we wouldn't make it a requirement if a student couldn't afford it. So the idea is that we have to figure out a way to fund these things. So we've had really good feedback from the administration about their support for initiatives like this. So our position with respect to Faculty Senate was that let us work on these and see what we can do. Maybe we can't do it, but let us try. You don't know how far you can go if you don't try.
That's true.
So we're going to give it a shot and see how we can make it work.
Now, how many people serve on this committee?
There are 10. We have one who is an administrative liaison, the Associate Dean, Rob Flaherty.
Okay.
He's on it, and then there are 10 faculty.
Now, do you try to get
faculty?
Do you try to get faculty from different majors so you can have different kind of perspectives from different angles?
This is a different committee than you'll find in a lot of places in that we intentionally designed it to not be a representative committee. Because once you set it up as a representative committee, then the members of the committee are speaking for their constituents, the people they're supposed to be representing. And we wanted a committee of people who was going to work entirely for the college. We're not working for our own small self-interest, but rather we're trying to build the best program that we can for the college as a whole. So we are diverse. We have half men, half women. We have people from math and social sciences. And so it's a pretty diverse committee, but it was elected at large by the faculty.
Okay. Now, what's been the toughest thing about being on this committee so far?
The workload, probably more than anything else. We meet twice a week. We have a certain amount of prescribed homework we're supposed to do between meetings. So we've traveled. Gosh, we go to conferences so far about once a semester. We go to a conference. So that's been a lot. Plus, we're meeting with people constantly, and so it just keeps us pretty busy.
Now, where have you traveled to for these conferences, and what do they discuss when you go there?
Well, it varies. We went to, most recently we went to Boston. Before that, we went to Portland, Maine. And at both of those are general education revision conferences. That's what we're going to learn about how other people are doing. The first one we went to, the one that we went to in Portland in the fall, I think we learned a lot about how we should move forward, how we should try and execute this process. The one that we just came back from in Boston, I think a number of us felt, okay, we're done with this kind of conference because we're doing it right.
Yeah.
We really have learned, and
Good.
we have picked up the sorts of tools that we need in order to do this right.
Okay. Now, what have you learned from other colleges from going to these conferences that you would like to see happen here at Baker?
Well, we've seen a number of things that are really interesting. I'm not sure how well they would work exactly like that. But one university, for instance, gets a group of people together and they develop a project. Usually it's an engineering school, so it involves some engineering. And then they go to, like the last one, they went to a small village in Africa that had a bunch of important artifacts of their culture. They built some sort of climate-controlled thing that was solar-powered. And so they spent time learning about the culture before they went, something about the language. Then they went over there and they did this project and lived in the village. And then they came back and sort of digested their experience. So things like that we've seen that are really innovative, that really make learning real for people.
Awesome.
So those are the sorts of things we're dreaming. We're dreaming big.
Okay.
We really are.
All right. Well, Dr. Carter, thanks for coming on today's show.
Thank you very much for having me.
That was Dr. Marc Carter from the GET Committee.
Thanks, Zach. Now we're going to take a look at other Baker professors who were students here before they began teaching. KNBU reporter Matt Quandt has more.
I got to sit down with a few Baker professors to see some differences they've seen since they've been on campus.
I'm Martha Harris. I'm a professor in the Department of Business and Economics at Baker now. I graduated from Baker in 1979 and actually came back to start teaching here just a few years after that. So it's not like I've reappeared after a long absence. I've been here through a long period of change on campus. One of the main things I think I've noticed is the increased participation of our students in study abroad. When I was a student, very rarely would somebody be gone for a semester to go to England or someplace along those lines. And now we have a lot of our students, probably about 50 a year, that take the opportunity to study abroad. And I think that's a great development and a priority that Baker is supporting with financial aid, and just makes our students all the more valuable.
Well, it's tough because I graduated in 2002, but I've been in grad school since, and that Dave Chappelle or Rick James says, cocaine's a hell of a drug. It's like grad school's a hell of a thing, and like I don't really remember much. I see professors that I used to have, and I can't really remember what their classes were like, and it's hard for me to identify. One of the biggest things are the aesthetic changes, the physical changes. The apartments weren't here, the new library wasn't in. I don't even think the cafe was in, and so coming back and seeing that positive change on campus has been really nice.
Being in this community over 20 years and also being a Baker grad, my last year being in 1986, attending classes, and then thereon coming back to finish up my undergraduate work here. I've seen all the changes that have occurred here at Baker, being the library, the student union, the renovations out at the football field, and now with the new Living Learning Center that's going up in the north parking lot of Baker University. So down through the years, Baker's made a commitment to continue to try to do the things that are right to help the students have a great experience here, whether it be living, whether it be learning, whether it be in sports and the facilities here. So down through the years, they've made that commitment to these students, and I really enjoy and I'm proud to see that they're following through with their commitment of being one of the top universities in the Midwest.
The only other change really is I've seen a little bit of a change in students, and I don't know, I'm not speaking for all students, but I don't know where a desire for learning has gone. When I went to college, it was all about I wanted to learn things, I wanted to be successful, and a lot of students I've seen at Baker are trying to get a degree and go, and they don't care about the learning process so much, and I think that's a little bit of a change. I don't know if that's generational or what it is, but that's something I've noticed. I think overall the academic quality is very high for students, but I'm not seeing that interest and desire. People just tell me what I got to do to pass this class and to get out. So
it really is amazing how many professors here at Baker that were actually students.
Oh, yeah.
And with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break.